We believe that authenticity matters to you because being your most authentic self is the only way that you're really going to receive love. It's the only way that you're ever going to experience true happiness, true fulfillment, and true purpose in life. But you shouldn't believe anything we say. We're a couple of people with preconceived ideas, preconceived notions and biases about the world. We have psychology like anyone else. We have limiting beliefs and habits that hold us back in life. And you should just take what we say with a grain of salt. Let it inspire a truth that works for you, and find what authenticity means to you deep inside. My name is Goodall.
And my name is Alain Cormier. And I just want to call myself out. I feel a little bit nervous shooting this video right now. I don't know about you.
Yeah, me too. We've done a few takes of this video. We've tried it a couple of times, and but we want to be as authentic as possible. We don't have any scripts. We're not going to edit this video. We're just letting you see us for who we really are.
Yeah. So I want to start with a personal story of how I repressed my authenticity as a child. So I grew up in a family of 5 kids, and my parents were obviously very stressed. But I'm the second oldest. So when I came into the world, I had one older brother, and my older brother is one of those just high achievers by nature. And so for me, he set a certain standard of excellence that I compared myself to, and I felt like I needed to live up to that standard in order to get my parents' love. If I didn't get as good grades as my older brother in school, I felt like my parents weren't loving me. If I didn't perform as well as my brother in sports, I felt like my parents weren't going to love me. And later on in life, that developed, that comparing myself to other people and believing that I needed to live at a standard that is something that was just in my imagination, it created a lot of suffering because I felt like being myself in the world was never going to be enough, was never going to be accepted. And so it did create a lot of suffering until later on in life when I became aware of that unconscious pattern that I had as a child. And I was able to do some work around it and realize that it's not true, and that I am allowed to be who I really am, and that that's actually the most natural thing for a human to do.
My situation is kind of the opposite of Alain's. I was the older brother, and I had a younger brother most of my life that I recognized. My parents gave him special attention when he cried, or special attention when he needed help, and he was always the baby, and I was always the older one. So there was a lot of responsibility that I perceived was falling on me, responsibility to take care of my brother, responsibility to be the big brother in the family. And then at 9 years old, some challenges happened in my family. I was taken to foster care, my younger brother got to stay home. So I created the belief that being my most authentic self was not going to get me the love of my parents. It was not going to get me the love of people who mean the most to me, and even it's not going to get me love from the women in my life, because I was taken into my mother's custody, my brother got to stay home. And so it created problems in all of my romantic relationships for most of my life. I created the belief that being who I really am wasn't going to get me the love that I needed, so I had to be someone else. And it kept me in a constant fear that just being who I am was never going to be enough, that I was going to lose the people that meant the most to me in my life by being who I really am.
Yeah. So for those of you who are familiar with the work of Dr. Gabor Mate, he explains it really well. We're going to post a link to a video of his in the description below. And so what he says is that we were born with two primary needs as babies. And one is a need for attachment, and our need for attachment is our need for survival. It gets us nurturing and protection from our parents, and it's essential for us to survive and to be able to grow and develop. And the other need that we have is our need for authentic expression. It's our need for uniqueness, for independence, to be who we really are in the world, and to feel safe and accepted and loved for who we really are. And there's situations in most of our lives that creates tension between these two needs. And given that we're so dependent on our parents at such a young age, the need for attachment is the one that's most important early in childhood. So the need for authenticity becomes compromised when our need for attachment becomes threatened. So we can give the example of a baby who's born in a very stressful environment, and where maybe showing all of his emotions, showing who he really is and expressing all of that is not received by the parents, because if the parents are too stressed or they're not around or whatever. So this baby will start to modify its behaviors in ways that will ensure that he gets more love and the love that he needs from his parents. And later on in life, that creates all sorts of psychological and mental, emotional issues as an adult.
Yeah, Gabor mentions the example of when the baby's crying. He says, and Gabor Mate is so humble, isn't he? He talks about how he's made all these mistakes with his own kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like this is not a video to make anyone feel guilty about their parenting. It's not a video to make you feel bad about your parents. We all experience it. It happens. We're human beings.
Yeah.
But the example he gives is when the baby's crying. You know, some parents just let it cry it out. You know, just let the baby cry. And he says, you know, the way that we help the baby feel like it's protecting its love is when the baby's crying, we pick it up and we hold it and we let it feel nurtured and loved and cared for. And he says when a parent doesn't do that, like Alain said, it creates the belief that the baby's expression, the baby's authenticity, yelling, screaming, crying, whatever, is not going to get it love. And in fact, if it causes any stress from the parent, any more stress, the baby can read that stress, right? If the parent's stressed and like, oh God, this baby, or you know, says anything or does anything, whatever, the baby's a sponge, you know, from that young age and is receiving it. And some people might say, well, how's a baby ever going to remember that? A baby doesn't remember it in the conventional sense of like, you know, having a vivid memory of it, but it becomes a base programming. 75% of our core beliefs are formed in the first 12 years of our lives, most particularly in the first 5 years of our lives. And then up to 95% of our decisions every day are unconscious thought habits and decisive habits we make that are based on those core beliefs. So that means that our belief of whether or not being authentic is going to get us love or not, that's formed in our early years. So then as we grow up later in life, we have all of these, like Alain said, modified behaviors that we've created so that we can feel good enough for the people around us, so we can get validation and get acceptance. But then we're jeopardizing our need for authenticity, which causes us to not actually receive the love that's coming to us. If I give you love for a song you tell me you wrote, but you didn't really write it, well, you're not really going to receive that love on a visceral level. You're not going to receive it on an emotional level. You're just going to receive the neurological validation momentarily that will help you feel good about the song, but and I feel good about me liking you in that moment, but really you're not receiving it. So there's always a need for that love that's unfulfilled.
Yeah, and so later on, so basically what happens as adults, we're running off of mental programs that are unconscious to us, but that don't really allow us, they don't support our authentic expression. And so the decisions that we make in life, the relationships that we create, and so on, come from a place of inauthenticity. They come from a place of whatever way we've been conditioned and shaped by our environment. And so it sounds kind of like we're kind of stuck in a trap as adults because we have a need to express ourselves for who we really are, but then we have some programming that support an inauthentic expression. So this is where some of the work that we do here at the Authenticity Dojo actually serves people in healing some of the mental programs that may have developed in early childhood, so that as an adult, when you really when you dive deep into your own psychology to figure out the root of all of the mental programs that create your suffering, then it creates space for you to create new programs that are in alignment with what you ultimately want to express and how you ultimately want to show up in the world.
And a simple way to think about that is imagine you've got a Windows 95 computer, right? So imagine you've got an operating system inside of you that says, well, I have to achieve as much as I can to get love, right? And so Windows 95 will work for you even now to a certain point. Within a certain level of your capacity, that Windows 95 computer might work for you. But if you're trying to experience more love, more happiness, more authentic expression, relationships that really matter and relationships that last, then that Windows 95 software is going to be outdated and new software is going to have to be created. So to make that real, the individual who thinks they need to overachieve to get love, maybe in their 30s and 40s, they're starting to feel tired. They're starting to feel overwhelmed. They're starting to feel stressed all the time because that overachieving pattern that got them here, it created all of the success that they've experienced up to this point in their life, but now it's holding them back from actually experiencing the things that matter most. Quality relationships, spending time doing what they love, experiencing life in flow rather than life in always being hectic and stressed all the time. So like Alain said, that the work that we do here at the Authenticity Dojo is designed, first of all, to help people get really clear and honest about what their authentic self even looks like. Most of us don't even know who we really are. And when when the noise of our life settles, and when things start to slow down around us, we start to recognize, oh, I'm kind of unhappy, I'm kind of depressed, I'm kind of lonely, even in a group of people. I'm addicted to food, I'm addicted to Netflix, I'm addicted to alcohol, I'm addicted to cannabis, I'm addicted to porno or masturbation or sex or whatever. We have all these addictions and these coping mechanisms that help us feel the neurological equivalent of love, but without actually receiving that love. And so, yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to touch on on purpose, because a lot of people who, it's kind of like the journey of realizing that you're not living a life that's aligned with who you are, makes you realize that you're not living a life that is purposeful to you. And so the work of becoming your most authentic self, the work of undoing the mental programs that prevent you from expressing your true self, also steer you away from the life that you could say that you're meant to live, the life that is so unique to you, the work that is so unique to you that you could say that that's why you're here, that's what you're here to express. And so by becoming more authentic, by healing your psychology, you're also shifting your life in a direction that's going to be more authentic, it's going to be more purposeful, that's going to be more fulfilling, and ultimately that's going to lead you to live a happier life.
Yeah, so the work we do here at the Authenticity Dojo can range from playing games together that help us get clear on our authentic self, how we see the world, how we think about the world, how we think about ourselves. It could look like really deep and powerful coaching work that helps an individual heal their deep traumatic childhood experiences that haven't been processed fully, that are still causing them to behave in misaligned ways. It could look like social events. It could look like private retreats, customized retreats that we're doing for individuals to help them get out of their environment, get out of their habitual lifestyle of living the same life every day, come here with us into this place and experience something totally life-changing for 3 days, 5 days, maybe even 7 days, where we're taking them out of their environment and introducing them to triggers and cues that are designed to bring forward their most authentic self and to help them get clear about how they really see the world. What do they really want in life? What's really going to make them happy? And how can they develop a strong sense of self-love internally that gives them the freedom and the confidence to express their most authentic self externally?
And that's basically the message that we wanted to share with you all today. And if you have any questions about what we're about, what we're up to, you can check. We have a link to our website in the comment section below.
We've also got a link to Gabor Mate's presentation we talked about earlier. It's just about a 5-minute video, I think, something like that, 5 minutes.
Yeah,
and there's a link to my blog as well that tells you in more depth about what authenticity means to us, how you can develop a more authentic life, and how you can get involved with what we do here at the Authenticity Dojo. If you check with the link, theauthenticitydojo.com, that will allow you to sign up to our insider circle so you can receive information about what we do, receive information about how you can start transforming your own life and living a more authentic life. So the reason we believe authenticity matters to you is because it's the only way you're going to live a happy, healthy, fulfilled, and love-filled life. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, everyone.